Hi guys, welcome back to another video. It's back at the World Cup action once again. I obviously have done my full predictions a couple of weeks ago before the tournament started, but now the group stages have concluded and we've got our full knockout bracket ready to go. So I've decided I'm just going to quickly do a prediction. I'm not going to do a full prediction of the knockouts, as you can see it's just a round of 32, but I'll probably try and do one for each round because it's exciting. This is going to be one of the best knockouts we've ever had. Some of the biggest games are up and coming. I mean, there's a possibility of France versus Sweden in the round of 16, and already in the round of 32 we've got the games like Ivory Coast versus Norway, Brazil v Japan, and even probably the big game, not in terms of like the two teams, but the actual what's on it riding on it is Argentina versus Cape Verde. That's incredible. The Cape Verde have managed to get through, but as you can see, I've wrote down how many teams from each continent are left. So Oceania, the one team that was in it, has already been eliminated, and that was New Zealand. From Asia, just two remain, Japan and Australia. The teams that have been eliminated from there are South Korea, Qatar. I'm going to read the list just because, I'm actually trying to remember. Who else? Nope. Iran's been eliminated, Saudi Arabia's been eliminated, Iraq's been eliminated, Jordan's been eliminated, and Uzbekistan's been eliminated. I don't think I've put in CONCACAF or whatever that's called, like the Caribbean countries, but I think Caribbean just comes under North America. Uh, for Africa, every single team has made it through. So you've got South Africa, Morocco, Senegal, Ivory Coast, DR Congo, Cape Verde, Egypt, Algeria, and Ghana. That's 9 out of 10. The only country to get eliminated from Africa was Tunisia, who were the second worst country in the group stages with a -10 goal difference and 0 points, only behind Iraq, who got -11. Then Europe, 13 out of the 16 are through. Germany, France, Sweden, Netherlands, Portugal, Croatia, Spain, Austria, Bosnia, Belgium, Norway, England, and Switzerland. The three teams to get eliminated from there were the Czech Republic, who got 1 point in Group A and came fourth. Scotland, unfortunately, who only got 3 points and got a -3 goal difference. And the big shock was Turkey, who got 3 points but -2 goal difference and came last. They were really disappointing. I think that's all that's all the European teams. And in North America, obviously the only three teams that get through were the hosts: Mexico, USA, and Canada. From North America, I believe Haiti. I'm just gonna hope that it's the Caribbean countries that were also in CONCACAF. So Haiti got eliminated with -6 and goal difference and 0 points. Curacao got -8 and 1 point in respect to them, smallest country. Drawing with Ecuador was incredible. Who else? Uruguay. Oh no, sorry, my bad. That's South America. Yeah, actually, that's it. There's only the three other countries: Curacao. Oh, and Panama. Panama was the last one. Panama came last with -4 goal difference and 0 points. And then lastly, South America. Five countries out of the six got through, and that was Paraguay, Brazil, Ecuador, Argentina, and Colombia. And the only team that didn't get through was Uruguay, who came third with 2 points, but 2 points is not enough, and they came last out of the top the 12 third place teams. But it's time to get into the round of 32 predictions that I've come up with. So I've done a slideshow, and it's going to hopefully work. So let's get into it. Starting off versus South Africa v Canada. As you can see at the top, what I've done is I've put the match the winner plays. So like now you can see the full bracket. That's just for you. So the winner of Canada versus South Africa will play Netherlands versus Morocco. I was gonna put in where the fixtures were being held, but I decided not to. But the main reason was because of this match, because Canada came second because they lost on the last game against Switzerland. I think it was 2-0, which meant they came second, and the winner of their group would have got the game in Canada. I think it was in Toronto. So that means that Canada now have to play away. I don't actually know where. I will fact check that for you quickly because I'm interested myself. That game is being held in Los Angeles. So Canada will have to travel to Los Angeles rather than being able to play at home in Toronto. But yeah, both teams making their debut in the knockout stages. South Africa had a rough start with a 2-0 loss to Mexico, but then got a point and then another cup. I think they won the last game against South Korea. So that was quite a good match. Canada have obviously come second. So it's second v second. My prediction is a 1-0 victory for Canada. I also have put goal scorers in, and my predicted goal scorer is Jonathan David. I think this game's going to be quite cagey. South Africa obviously are a bit of a team to watch, like a vibe. They're quite fun. But I think Canada will, oppress that fun. They will be quite tough to beat, and I don't think South Africa will be able to break them down. And I can just see Canada like nicking it at the end or getting an early goal, but they just holding on for the rest of the game. But I do see this being a bit of an ugly watch. Moving on to the next game, the first of arguably 3 or 4 big games, Brazil versus Japan. And as you can see, the winner will play the winner of Ivory Coast versus Norway, another big game. That's a lot. This could set up like, could you imagine Brazil v Norway and Haaland versus Neymar? Would be pretty incredible. But yeah, Brazil came through Group C, top, I believe. I don't think Morocco. Yeah, no, Brazil came top, beating Scotland 3-0 in the last game. Japan, meanwhile, came second to the Netherlands, but they had some good results. So my prediction is going to be a 2-1 victory to Brazil. I think Vinicius Junior will get a brace to keep himself in the Golden Boot race, and a consolation goal for Japan from, I'm going to, please hope I don't butcher this, Ayase Ueda. Sorry for the pronunciation, but I think Brazil's team has been strong. At the start, I was a little concerned, but now that I've watched them for a few games, I think Brazil have got their confidence and have a decent chance at going far in the tournament. And Vinicius has silenced the haters a bit, and he's been playing quite well, so I have faith in him to get a brace to take Brazil to the round of 16. Moving on to the next one, it is Germany versus Paraguay, and the winner of that will play against the winner of France v Sweden. So Germany v France is a possibility. That would be quite an interesting game. Paraguay, I believe, making their knockout debut, an incredible thing for them. I think I might talk about my predictions. In my predictions, I think I had Paraguay coming last, so it's fair play to them. And Germany came top in their group, having a resounding second time 7-1 win for the second time in the World Cup after beating Brazil 7-1 in 2014. They beat Curacao 7-1. So they've obviously had some good performances, and they've got great players. Verde has been doing quite well. Musiala's got a goal or two. I think he's got a goal, and then Undav as well. In my opinion, quite underrated. I think in his 11 or 12 caps, he's got 9 goals, which is a pretty incredible record. So I've gone for a 3-0 victory for Germany. I just think that they have. I was really worried about them because I mean they've been grouped in the last 2 World Cups, but they have proved me wrong. I did have them coming first, but the Ivory Coast and Ecuador gave them a bit of a challenge, but they overcame it. And Germany, I honestly think, are in my opinion are a bit of a dark horse to win it, because I mean no one's really picked them as a winner. It's all been like the likes of Spain, France, Portugal, England, but Germany have actually I think got a decent-ish run, and I think aside from France actually. But if they can somehow get through this game, maybe pick up a confident boosting win, then I think they can go into a good game against France if France get through. Moving on to the next, really probably I think this is the biggest, like most tough to predict game of the tournament. The round is the Netherlands versus Morocco, and that plays the winner of South Africa versus Canada. So if my prediction was correct, it would be against Canada. So this is the first game where I think it will go to penalties, because I don't think I can predict either of these teams. I think it'll be really cagey between the two. So I've got Cody Gakpo and Brian Brobby scoring 2 for the Netherlands and 2 for Morocco from Bilal El Kanous and Ismail Saibari. But as for who I think will win on penalties, I have gone for a little bit of an upset, and I think it will be Morocco as a dark horse run once again to beat Netherlands 4-2 on penalties. Our Netherlands got knocked out on penalties last time against Argentina, and I think Bono's got some good experience, and I think Netherlands will choke a little bit, and I'm disappointed because I think they have actually got a good team. The only weak point is their attack, but they've actually been making had quite a few good performances. Like net 2-2 Japan was disappointing, but then they've bounced back to beat Sweden 5-1 and Tunisia 3-1, I think. So yeah, Netherlands, unfortunately, in my opinion, do go out because Morocco's team is still just so good. Like not underrated now, but yeah, I've got Morocco going through against Netherlands. Moving on to another big game, Ivory Coast versus Norway, and the winner plays Brazil v Japan. So it's going to be a tough one. You got the Nordics versus the. I'm not going to go for I think it's the Elephants that Ivory Coast are called. I forgot the name. But both of these teams could be dark horses, so this is a really interesting game. But I've got Ivory Coast getting 1 from Nicolas Pepe, but I've also got Erling Haaland scoring a hat-trick. I mean, he's just fresh off not playing against France. He got fully rested, I think. I don't think he came off the bench, but he did. He's been on in fine form, and it's like, this is going to be one of the most incredible Golden Boot races with the likes of Haaland, Kane, Dembele, Mbappe, Messi, and don't think I'm missing anyone. I mean, even players like Undav and Vinicius and others are going for it. So this is a great game. But I think that in terms of this match, Haaland will come back fresh and he will go for it and get a hat trick against Ivory Coast. And unfortunately, I see Ivory Coast going home and Norway going on, in my opinion, to play Brazil. Moving on to this match, France versus Sweden. Winner playing Germany versus Paraguay. In my predictions, it will be Germany that they play. So Sweden are honestly, I thought they would do quite well. Like, they didn't have a great qualification campaign and managed to get through the playoffs, but their group stages were so inconsistent. Like, in fact, I'm going to check what their last game was because I know the first two, but I actually can't remember what the scoreline was in the last game against whoever it was. But I know that they beat Tunisia 5-1, then went on to lose 5-1 to the Netherlands, and in their last game, where's the score? Sweden versus Japan was 1-1, yeah, from an Anthony Elanga equaliser. So yeah, Sweden disappointed. I think they came for third, I believe, to get through. They should come third, but just for their poor inconsistency. And France, won the group, 9 points, thrashed Iraq, did quite well against Senegal, and then Norway they beat comfortably as well. For that, I've got a 4-1 victory from braces from Mbappe and Dembele, and a consolation goal scored by Victor Gyökeres for Sweden. Moving on to the next match with a host involved, the second of the three, Mexico versus Ecuador, with the winner playing England or DR Congo. This is a very tough game to predict, and I have gone for a 1-1 draw from goals from Julian Quinones and the veteran striker for Ecuador, Ener Valencia. But going through, this game is probably in Mexico, I think, because I think Mexico won the group. Going through on penalties, I have got Mexico. I think they are a bit underrated. I think they have got a great squad. They've got experience. They've got youth. And I think the youngest player at the World Cup actually. And yeah, Ecuador disappointed in the group. Like they made it so much harder for themselves than they should. Like losing to Ivory Coast, then drawing with Curacao, and then they only got beat Germany a bit luckily in late on. I think it was also because Germany rotated quite a bit because they'd already qualified. So Ecuador got really lucky in my opinion. But unfortunately, I just see them slipping up against Mexico. Moving on to the aforementioned game between England and DR Congo. It was going to be England v Senegal, but then Congo managed to win their game last night against Uzbekistan, and this now means that they play each other, and the winner will play the winner of Mexico versus Ecuador. In my opinion, it'll be Mexico, so England possibly playing Mexico. And in my opinion, I do see England coming out on top with a 2-1 victory over Congo. Johan Visa, I think Johan Visa, England have been disappointing in the group stages, to be honest. Like, they made it so much harder for themselves, again, just a bit like Ecuador, than they should have, because the first game was great, 4-2 against Croatia, Kane getting a brace, Rashford scoring a winner, Bellingham getting on the score sheet, but then they couldn't break down Ghana, and then they really struggled to break down Panama. They obviously won comfortably, technically, because of the 2-0 deficit, but they were just, they made it so much more difficult. They couldn't break Panama down. They couldn't break Ghana down. They broke Croatia down easily, but I don't understand how they couldn't break the other two teams down. And yeah, and they then got right back issues because Livramento went home injured. James was injured in the last game, and Kwanzaa's injured himself against Panama last night. So it's going to be very interesting to see how England perform against Congo. But I just think that their experience will prove pivotal. Harry Kane gets a goal. I think Johan Visa scores the first goal and gives England a scare. But then Tuchel changes his tactics, and then they come back, and Harry Kane scores, and then Rashford scores the winner to send England to the round of 16. Moving on to the next match between European and African side, Belgium versus Senegal. We've got Belgium, who were again a little bit inconsistent in the group. They drew to Egypt, then I can't remember what happened to the other results, but I think they got a couple of wins in the last two games. I think they got a draw, and then a win. Yeah, they did actually because they drew to Iran, I think, and drew to Egypt, but they beat New Zealand 5-1. And then you've got Senegal, who had that really, really tough group, but I did get it right. They managed to get 3 points against Iraq in a resounding 5-0 win. So despite losing to Norway and to France, they got a strong goal difference, which was enough to get them through, which is the mistake Scotland made by not scoring enough against Haiti. But Senegal didn't had a tougher group and managed to get through. And I have gone for an upset here, arguably. I think that Romelu Lukaku and Leandro Trossard get two for Belgium, but that Ismaila Sarr gets a brace, and then in extra time, I think this game goes to extra time. Sadio Mane scores a winner for Senegal because I think Senegal are definitely the second best African side in the world, just behind Morocco. That may get me hated just after the AFCON, but I think Senegal can go far in this tournament. They got unlucky last time out in 2022. I think they got England and lost 3-0, but they're a better side. They've got some players at the top of their game, like Ismail Assar has been brilliant. Sadio Mane's got that experience. They've got Koulibaly in defence and Jackson up front if you want to add that him in as there as well. So yeah, and the winner will go on to play the winner of the third host, United States v Bosnia, which is what we're predicting now. So USA did have a very good group stage. Bosnia got through in third, but United States I will put through 2-1, courtesy of goals from Folarin Balogun and Ricardo Pepi, but a consolation goal for Bosnia from the experienced veteran striker Edin Dzeko. So yeah, United States to go through and play Senegal in this round. I can't believe those two. That could be a quite good game. United States v Senegal. Moving on to Spain versus Austria, with the winner playing Portugal or Croatia. That would be a good game. Spain, very interesting group stages. Drew to Cape Verde, but then recovered to beat the other two teams in the group, Uruguay and Saudi Arabia, knocking Uruguay out actually, and Saudi Arabia was a good 4-0 victory. I think Spain definitely have. I obviously predicted Spain to win the thing, and I still think they will. I have now noticed though that my final prediction was Spain versus Portugal, which obviously could not happen now. The group because my final's already going to be wrong because I've had Spain and Portugal are going to possibly face Spain now, so that's not great. But it can't be helped. I mean, that's how it was lined up. So, and obviously the knockouts have changed. But I've got Spain winning 3-1 against Austria, with goals from Lamine Yamal, Pedri, and Fabian Ruiz, but a consolation for Austria from Marco Arnautovic. And yeah, Austria, first World Cup since 1998, unfortunately go home, but they can hold their heads held high that they got to the knockout. And yeah, Spain to continue going. Moving on to Portugal versus Croatia, a winner again playing Spain v Austria. In my case, it'll be Spain. I'm just going to go straight into the goal. I could have gone for the upset with Croatia, but they were not great in the group stages. Just about beat England, but they got the points to get through in second. But I just think their squad's too old. It's like Portugal's got the balance of experience and youth with the likes of Ronaldo and other players. I can't even think Ronaldo and Ruben Diaz and Bruno Fernandes. But then the likes of the youth, more younger players like Vitinha, João Neves, Nuno Mendes, Rafael Leao, Francisco Conceição. And yeah, I think their team is pretty good. Like I was worried about them after the first game against DR Congo, but they obviously came back again 5-0 against Uzbekistan. But again, Portugal did make it difficult for themselves. Like Congo and I forgot Colombia. I did think Colombia should have won it last night, and they did nearly that offside decision against Davinson Sanchez was awful. Like just because he's got a bit slightly big shoe, he got chalked off. But yeah, I've got Portugal going through courtesy of goals from Bruno Fernandes and Rafael Leao. I don't have Ronaldo scoring in this game. He got 2 goals against Uzbekistan, but he's just been struggling against the bigger teams. But yeah, consolation goal from the veteran Luka Modric as he bows out of his last World Cup with a goal. Next up is another interesting game, Switzerland versus Algeria, with the winner playing the winner of Colombia or Ghana. So Switzerland, I actually think if I had to pick a side that had like an outside chance of winning the tournament, Switzerland would be up there for me because great experienced side with some brilliant youth players, and they are a very great side. Nine. They had a bad start to the group stages against with that draw against Qatar, but they've bounced back phenomenally. So I can see Switzerland doing well in this tournament if they can get past Algeria, who I think got a bit quiet. They didn't have many outstanding results. They got second place, I think, though. Second or third, I don't know. It might have been third, possibly. But yeah, they've done quite well for themselves. Riyad Mahrez has been a bit quiet. I don't think he's done too much. But I do have a draw for this game with a goal from Johan Manzambi for Switzerland and the aforementioned Riyad Mahrez for Algeria. But this game does go to penalties, and my prediction is that Switzerland advance 4-1 on penalties because they've got a good experienced goalkeeper in Gregor Kobel, and they've got good penalty takers like Granit Xhaka, Breel Embolo, and yeah, Switzerland to go through on penalties. Moving on to Australia versus Egypt, with Egypt getting out for the knockouts to the knockouts for the first time after picking up their first World Cup win in their history in the 92 years that they've tried. The winner of this game will play Argentina or Cape Verde. And as for who I think wins, I've got one goal for Austria, courtesy of Nestroy Iracunda of Watford, but 2 goals for Egypt, courtesy of Omar Marmoush and Mohamed Salah. I think Egypt are a very good side. They've obviously really struggled in the last World Cups, but they got a point against Belgium, then got their first win against New Zealand, and managed to get one more point off Iran, which actually denied Iran a place in the World Cup because it wasn't enough for them to qualify automatically. And then when Iran thought they had the win, their goal got chopped off for offside, which meant that they were in third place, and they've just been knocked out last night. But yeah, Egypt to go through. I think they're a great side, and they could do something quite spectacular in this World Cup if they can get a lucky run. But you know, Argentina is on the next side of the bracket, so it'll be quite tight for them and quite tough. Moving on to aforementioned Argentina against the absolute story of this tournament, Cape Verde. What a performance! How on earth has that happened? Like, out of the 4 debutants, they are the ones to go through, and it wasn't like they came, scraped through as a third place side. They came second in their group because they were. This is what a good team should do. They should be able to capitalize on other teams' mistakes. So Saudi Arabia and Uruguay had terrible group stages, and Cape Verde were able to capitalize on it by getting the points they needed. They had 3 draws, but that was enough to go through second, just behind Spain. Cape Verde, with obviously some great experienced players, the story Vizinha doing incredible, 40 years old, but he's been incredible. So I've got Cape Verde going, against Argentina, the world champions. But I do unfortunately see Argentina just, they are the experienced side, just beating Cape Verde, well, not beating them, thrashing them by 4-1, with a brace from Lionel Messi, who gets his 28th and 21st World Cup goals, and then a couple more from Alex Keith McAllister and Julian Alvarez. But a consolation for their first knockout goal in their history in the World Cup from their captain Ryan Mendes for Cape Verde, who can go home heads held high, proud of themselves because they have done absolutely incredibly. This is equivalent of a victory to them. They should be really proud of proud of themselves. Moving on to the last game of the knockouts, not knockouts, of the round of 32, with Colombia versus Ghana, with the winner playing Switzerland versus Algeria. I have got a 2-0 victory for Colombia, courtesy of the 2 goals from the 2 superstar flashy players of Colombia, Luis Diaz and James Rodriguez. Colombia did fantastically against Portugal last night. I think they are a side that can do really well. They're probably I think the 3rd strongest side left from South America, behind Brazil and Argentina, and are chronically underrated. And I think Ghana obviously will prove a test for them, but they will get the job done and go on to face a strong Switzerland side. And this leaves my group round of 16 matches looking like this: Canada versus Morocco, Brazil versus Norway, Germany versus France, England versus Mexico, United States versus Senegal, Spain versus Portugal, Switzerland versus Colombia, and Argentina versus Egypt. So thank you very much for watching. It's been a great pleasure filming this video for you. Let me know what your predictions are for the World Cup and how you think the knockouts are going to be. I think this will be... Everyone complains that there's 48 teams in this tournament, but I think this is going to prove to be a very exciting tournament, even though we've got obviously debutants with the likes of Cape Verde. I'm just going to go back and look at the fact that Cape Verde are playing against Argentina, and I think we'll finish on that. The story of the tournament: Cape Verde getting to the round of 32, getting to the knockouts for the first time in their first attempt, and it's an incredible story. So thank you very much for watching. Have a great day, and Yep, enjoy the World Cup, and I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.